Evening, ladies. How are we doing? I'm waiting for my YouTube to come up to see if I'm muted, and I wasn't. Haha. What's going on, guys? This is BP Crow's Nest, and we're on what like episode 80 or something now, aren't we?
Yes.
Sweet. Oh wow, are we not going to have Ross's face for the whole night? That would be so amazing. Anyway, so yeah, raid is today, guys. I don't know if it started in your world or not. It started in mine exactly 2 minutes ago, and here I sit doing a show and not raiding, so I can't tell you really anything much about the targets at this point. But we can tell you what the prizes are and what else is going on, and go into some of the other stuff that happened in the forums and in the game this week. So let me get some screen sharing going, and we'll get started on that. And tonight with us, we got Ross, as always.
Good evening, everyone.
And we got Cuttlefish.
Hello, everyone. Hope your raid is going well.
There you go. All right. So the first thing we want to talk about is the Cannonballer campaign, which actually started yesterday when the raid was supposed to start, because obviously the raid got delayed by 24 hours because of all the issues Facebook was having yesterday. Were the Facebook issues affecting you guys a whole lot?
Oh, indeed. I was down and out.
Yeah, I couldn't do posts on the page to let people know about the delay for the raid. I couldn't approve people for the page. Every time I tried to approve somebody, I'd get an error. It took me I did get my post set up through about having issues with my give a fuck servers. I did get that post through after I tried to post it like 6 times. If I went through on one of them.
Yeah, I couldn't post but I could reply to people's comments, like older posts, and I could edit my older posts.
Huh? That's weird.
I know. No, but yes, and I couldn't play the game. It was on and off. It was bad.
Yeah, so I mean, the smart thing of them was to delay the raid for 24 hours. Now, I didn't look, I've not been into the game much lately, but as did they extend it 24 hours as well then?
I actually haven't looked, but I just assumed.
Yeah, I just assumed either, but you can never assume anything with these guys.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that it is. I mean,
it's still listed as the end date as Tuesday, March 19th at 3 p.m. with a rolling end.
Now, see, I would be happy myself with that, but I don't know about the community.
Now, Stardust Princess Warrior in chat is saying that it ends on the 20th.
Excellent. Thank you.
There we go. So, but anyway, the TLC for it actually started yesterday when the raid was supposed to start. So, Ross, you want to talk about the Cannonballer?
I sure can. And this one here is you're going to use your icebreakers for this one. And in prize pack 1, you do earn the Cannoneer blueprint, 1-day Cannoneer build token ×9, and then some ranking tokens, 2 of those, 2 25,000 BXP tokens. And then on in prize pack 2, you're going to pick up the weapon for it, which is the Millennium Gun, 1-day build token ×10 on 2 more of the same 25,000 BXP tokens. Prize pack 3 is where you're going to pick up the specials, the high velocity rounds, and this is a great special all around. And if you don't have it, in my opinion, that's worth doing just for that special alone. But at any rate, the prize pack 3, you do get the high velocity rounds, the 10 days of Cannoneer build tokens, and the ranking tokens again, 2 of the 25,000s. Onto the mastery prize is where you're going to pick up 10 Cannoneer build tokens ×2, so 20 tokens, and then you're going to be able to do that ×3. You know, this whole thing is just a ton of tokens. I truly believe it is enough to build a fleet of the Cannoneers to at least have something to hit the smallest targets on the map. I mean, I think that's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before, though, I think it's kind of crazy that you need a hull that came out after the Cannoneer in order to win the Cannoneer. That literally makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the order is goofy, and how the hulls came out how the hulls work isn't totally possibly intended.
There's a deal going around that's been flowing around. One of my people got it that was for a complete icebreaker fleet, including flag, for something like $2, $5, something like that.
Wow.
Right.
Where was that? Dude, you know how much money they would have made off of that fleet had they offered that when they came out with base race the first time?
Oh, I know. But I had somebody who bought that fleet last time it came up, the icebreakers, for $5, and that just mowed this thing down all the way through the mastery prizes in one shot. So any decent icebreaker fleet should be able to mow this thing down if this is your way to go. As a note, though, there's no flagship in here.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Is it in the FM anymore? I don't know. I don't pay. Once I've had the icebreaker flag for such a long time, I don't pay any attention anymore where it's at.
I greatly enjoyed scrapping my cannoneers. So.
Yeah, that's the only problem I have with this campaign is I think it's really weird that you need something that actually came out after the icebreaker or after the cannoneers to win the cannoneers. That's just, I don't know, because odds are like if you don't have the cannoneers, you probably don't have the icebreakers either. But whatever. So yeah, the raid was supposed to start yesterday, as we talked about, but it didn't start until today. It started at 3 p.m. kicks time. And then it'll end on the 20th, I guess, now at 3 p.m. kicks time. And I guess that'll push the store back to, I wonder if that'll push the store back to Friday, the 22nd at 3 p.m. kicks time.
Before we get to the raid, there was another thing that happened. They reran the No Survivor campaign and whatever the Shrike one was called.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, like, that's funny because I had actually been on the bottom part of that first slide, but I cut it off to make room. But, like, in my opinion, they didn't really communicate really well that it was a reset or whatever. I thought they were just extending it. So, I mean, I'd never looked at the actual word. Did they say they were resetting it, or did they just say they were turning it back on, or what did they say?
I don't know what they said. I just noticed it was reset. And eventually I saw some posts on it. But it was very useful, as we know now that there's no kits or tokens in the raid. That was very welcome. That helped me. That helped me get one of my ships to upgrade 3 before the raid. So I was very, very happy.
Yeah, they said they have re-enabled the whole upgrading campaigns. Yeah, so like I didn't realize they meant it was a reset. I just figured they meant they turned it back on. So I might put in a ticket about that and be like, hey, you didn't represent this very well. I want some of my parts that I would have gotten had I known it was a full reset. But anyway.
And I had a bunch of my alliance mates had trouble with that campaign because it was very difficult, and they just couldn't get by prize pack 3.
Right.
The first time. So this time, when they could go through and get prize pack 1 and 2 again, that was enough to get them another one of their ships to upgrade 2. So it was good. Very welcome.
We'll be talking more about upgrades later too. So, but let's see. So obviously, this is the whole store one. This is the one that has early access to the 2 different hulls, the Saturn and the Nemesis X. You're gonna be able to get the Howler and this raid, or that's what I like to call the new Rage. The points and costs have had a few zeros trimmed off the end, so there won't be as many numbers on the screen. So that's kind of cool. Tier 9 sets, the 2 targets you got are the 110 and the 108. The 110 will have the radioactive battery shards, ballistic battery shards, annihilator cannon shards, and stalker launcher shards, and the other one will have all the same shards, it looks like. So there you go. It's totally random between 4 things this time. And they have min and max blitz costs of 8 and 15. So yeah, and they're this time the point payout, like we were saying, has really been trimmed back on the point payout, but they also trimmed the price costs down some. But yeah, you're gonna get 250,000 for each target, and then 500,000 for the bonus. And then for tier, sorry, go ahead.
If you actually do want to farm any of these things like the radioactive battery, the ballistic battery, or the cannons, farther down you'll see that there are actual individual targets with that will only drop that individual item for you. So if you're going to be farming something, there's much better farm targets than dealing with that 1 to 4, that random chance.
Correct. The tier 8s, of course, you got the 83, the 81. They're 60,000 each with a completion bonus of 100. And blitz cost on them is 5 and 11. And then for the tier 7, you got the 63 and the 61, 15K a piece with the 40K bonus, and the blitz on them being 2 and 6. And then the tier 6, you got the 43 and the 41, and they are 4K each with a completion bonus of 6K. And then there were the other random targets we were just talking about, the old 106, the 104, the 102, and the 100. And that's where you can really, if you're farming particular shards, you can narrow down and have much better odds there. And they all have the 8 and 15 blitz cost.
These are fantastic. Last raid, I farmed 82 100s to get all of my Annihilator cannon shards.
There you go.
So I know that target inside and out. And so it's worth the same amount of points as the top end targets. You just don't get the set bonus.
Right,
so
right.
If those top targets are too tough, just aim down for the 100.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, you can do so many 102s, especially with like just the flagship for the rages. If you have all the others parked in the corner, like you can do 102s for very minimal damage.
Right. See, so those are my farming targets.
Yeah, and I mean, like I know I was doing them with just the one flagship. The first raid I showed everybody how you could do that, and I know how many iterations of changes my eradicators have gone through since then. That they're way better now, so I can imagine I could probably do like 2 or 3 in a row before I would have to repair almost.
I am totally surprised the 100s and 102s are here.
Yeah, well, I mean that's good though. That's
oh yes,
good,
Oh yes. It's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, and especially if they didn't go back and jack with them at all, because like last raid it didn't seem like they had messed with them at all. It seemed like they were exactly the same. New content. Ross, I'm going to let you talk about the Saturn.
All right. So the Saturn here it's a scattergun hull, assault tech, tier 8. This one comes with a plus 100% corrosive damage, so it's pretty good. Ship deflection 900, structure deflection 500. The corrosive defense on this one is 80%, and the tactical field resistance is 70%. I wanted to cover that. That's pretty strong. Those are pretty good numbers. And it comes stock with evade at 20% and a penetrative defense bonus of 75%. Let's be honest; those are nice numbers to see, at least on paper here. Combat speed is 20, turn speed is 30, map speed 42. Has a sonar range is 64, 3-hour duration, repair duration. Sorry, that is. It has 8 weapon slots, 4 armor slots, and 6 special slots. But this one, it does have a bonus effect applied to each ship added to a fleet. So you're going to add to each friendly ship, you're going to add 10% corrosive, penetrative, and then combat speed. Then you're also going to get a gaseous decay.
Man, I hope this has a good graphic.
I think it's a ring. I'm not sure, or a gas. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it actually. So, but it's going to be a hostile effect. Expects the buildings, turrets, and walls. Range is going to be 60, and it's going to knock their corrosive building defense down 10%.
Is this all the crewmen of your boat are farting or whatever, and they're like killing the buildings around them? Is that toxic? Is that what's going on here?
I think it is. I'm not sure on how it's going to be represented in the ring or the gas cloud or what it's going to be. But
maybe they'll look like, maybe there'll be a graphic like Pigpen and Charlie Brown had, you know, where wiggly lines around him.
Yeah, but to me, this is my pick. I'm just going to say it right off. I like these stats. They seem nice. They seem good. And I mean, I don't know what the word "nice" is about, but I like it. It's gonna be my choice. So
I know for sure it'll end up being my choice just because I gotten to the point when we have to hit like, you know, 50 targets, 60 targets, 100 targets. I can't be asked to fucking drive them all anymore. You know, I go something with either that A can completely auto or B takes the least amount of driving as possible.
Yep.
They also listed the upgrades for this ship.
Yeah, we'll get to that later when we talk about the wrong thinker thing stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And
here you can just do the weapons and the special.
Sure. Yeah, I do the Calypso scattergun is going to be the weapon it's going to go with this, and it's damaged. It's corrosive, of course. The weight's 2,420. Projectile speed's 400. Splash is 15, so it has a pretty good splash, actually. Spread is 90. Range is 89. Damage on this sucker is 54,000. Has a reload time of 5, a multi-shot 6. Seems like a good weapon also. I don't have anything negative really to say about this.
I'd really like to know, because like I haven't heard him say anything about the splash reduction change for a long time. Have either of you guys?
Nothing.
No, if I would have to guess, it's being lumped into this whole defensive upgrade that's supposed to come out at upgrade 914.
Oh, well, this time, you know, it's been
maybe
pushed already.
On April 2nd. Missed it by 1 day. One day.
Missed it by 1 day. Right. But it looks like a good weapon. And with the splash being the way it is, 15 is pretty nice little splash on a scatter gun, honestly.
I just want to go back to the boat real quick because it looks like Greg and Chad is saying the special ability range of 60 will stop you from doing auto. That's only if you really actually care about the special ability. If you're not really worried about the special ability and the -10 building defense, you'll still be able to auto.
Right.
But like, you know, because I was going to wait for this until the wrong thinker thinks too. But since this kind of got brought up, I'm going to bring it up now about like, does it seem to you guys like they're putting a lot of focus and emphasis on buildings and turrets where and a raid variation that's not really supposed to be about buildings and turrets?
Yeah, I don't know why would buildings and turrets, we shouldn't have buildings and turrets, right?
Well, I mean, we're supposed to have some there as like a support mechanism for the boats, you know, but they're not supposed to be like something that you're really having to worry about. They're there, but they're kind of not doing much. It's supposed to be the whole setup for assault, unless I'm seriously misremembering something.
Well, right, and there is a post up which has the assault briefing, and there's 2 turrets in there in one building. One short-range scattergun turret that is the "you idiot, you drove too close" turret, and one is a long-range missile plinking gun that we can shoot down with countermeasures. And then the building is for the ghost crawler.
It just seems to me though, where in a raid where the turrets aren't really supposed to matter, then why are you putting like extra corrosive building defenses -10s and stuff in there? You know what I mean? That's my confusion. Like it seems like they're making the buildings more important than what they're supposed to be.
Right. It's been a positive and a negative for me. And all I have the same stance and opinion as you do. I don't like them in there. However, that being said, there's a possibility where it could be in my benefit. I could foresee that if the building I could leave to prep for say another person. If it was that type of situation, then I'd like it. So we'll see.
Well, like, and I guess another crazy thing too is by the time we actually hit these targets, like none of these defense percentages are going to matter anymore.
Right? No, they aren't.
Going to be under like the new system, you know. So like, I don't know. Dude, I'm so confused.
Can I point out 2 other stats here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Number 1 is the maximum weight of 40,000 tons. This is the heaviest ship we have ever had.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And then the other stat I want to point out is the tactical field resistance of 70%. This is a weird stat. This stat cannot be modified. It's 70% period. Even if we put on something which adds tactical field resistance, it will remain at 70%. So don't try to put on any specials which will alter that.
Oh, I wonder why that is.
All right.
Because, well, like for example, Conquerors right now that have built-in tac fields, you can buff them. So I wonder why you can't with this one. Was that confirmed by Kix?
No. All right, please disregard that until I can go verify that again.
Okay. Yeah, because that just seems kind of weird.
Yep.
All right, on to the special.
All right. Excuse me. The high velocity or volatility cartridges is the special for it. It's a hull class. It's also assault. It's the 20% weapon weight, tier 8. Projectile speed 100%. Corrosive damage 55%. Building and wall damage plus 80%. Pretty strong special. Pretty strong special.
So it's a corrosive HVR.
Yeah. And with a great projectile speed, you know. So, yep.
Yeah, and there we're looking again at building and wall damage again. Like, just seems like a lot of emphasis is being put on buildings and stuff for what is supposed to be an assault rate.
Now, can this special, you think we'll be able to put this special on other things? Because this one.
Nope. Hull class assault.
I guess you could put it back on your mana cores if you wanted it to.
Right. It just is an appealing special to me. Those numbers all look good. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that like tons of different stuff is getting plus 100% now on its specials, on its projectile speed. You know, lots of different specials are getting that.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm really confused by the emphasis on buildings for the assault thing. But whatever. Cuddle, do you want to do the Nemesis X? Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I'm getting so old and unfocused. I'm like, who's on the show with me again?
The Nemesis X. This draconian assault ship features stabilized missile mounts and contoured hull designed to obfuscate shape from enemy detection system. Cryo emitters slow the approaching enemies and always allow for quick getaways.
Just real quick, they've become really fond of that word obfuscate, haven't they?
It must have been in their word of the day calendar.
Well, I was going to say, because I know Wrong Thinker, did that whole post about obfuscation and whatnot, and now it's shown up in this blueprint. And it's like they latched onto that 50-cent word. But anyway, go ahead.
This hull is my jam. This is the one I will be going for because I haven't had a good missile hull in a while, and I understand cryo. So to start with, it has 100% penetrating reload and 175% penetrating damage. What's also interesting is it has anti-missile accuracy percent of 30%. The defense is, the ship deflection is 900, structure is 500, identical to the Saturn. The corrosive defense is 78%, and the penetrative defense is 83, which is, I don't remember the Saturn's ones, but it's, I believe, opposite. Combat speed of 34, turn speed of 20, weapon slots 8, armor slots 4, special slots 6. And it slows down enemy ships out to a range of 110. Yeah, I really like this one. That penetrating reload of 100% will make the missiles nice and quick to fire, and that anti-missile accuracy will help against everything I need to counter in this raid. I like it.
There you go. I mean, I would like it if it wasn't so driving intensive. I think this hull is going to be very driving intensive. If I was still into that at this point in the game, I would like it, but I'm beyond that at this point in the game.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at the missile.
Do we have to? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I'm waiting for it to pop up.
He's on the other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it would help.
The assault missile D-76X. This, once again, is a stupidly heavy missile at 2,420 tons to make sure we can't put it on anything else fun. Its accuracy is 100. Its range is 76, which we can, of course, upgrade to 98 point something. And its reload time is 5. Nice big block of damage at 75k. One big fat missile. I like it.
Why do you got to call it fat, man? That offends us fat people.
Yeah. I like the graphics actually on this missile here. I'm hoping it kind of looks good on the hull itself, but I like the graphics, by the way, on some of this latest release.
Yeah, some of them aren't that bad. They're kind of simpler, but they pop, you know.
Right. No, that's the truth. That's exactly how you describe it. They're a little bit plainer though. Hey, the colors are a little bit better in my opinion. A little, you know, and they pop.
Kind of reminds me of like something you would see in like a James Bond movie or something almost.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And then we got the special too.
Right.
I will pause for Cuttlefish. If people would look in the hangout, it would probably be up already.
Prometheus missile system. Weapon weight of 25%, so it's not too bad. Remember, the hull has a 40,000 ton limit, so weight is kind of weird at the moment. A nice missile critical chance of 25%, missile critical damage of plus 125%. And here's your countermeasure stuff. Anti-missile range of 75% and anti-missile accuracy of 25%. That plus what's on the hull gives you your anti-missile accuracy at plus 55%. That's going to be some really good countermeasures.
That's a pretty good range too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it usually like around 60% for most of the specials we got right now?
Yeah,
it's a good range. So no, this is a great special.
Yeah, I want to say I think most of the specials we have for anti-missiles now are like around 60 or 65%. I got the game over. Let me do some looking into that. You guys keep talking.
So yes, this will cover the anti-missiles which your ships will need, as anti-missiles are the only countermeasure we will need in this raid cycle. So
oh no, I was totally wrong. Countermeasure loaders for rank 15 is 77%. So disregard that. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm a noob when it comes to this game.
75 is still good.
Yeah.
So no, I like this special. This will make this boat into the countermeasures coming off the Nemesis X to be very, very effective.
Unless all the stuff has countermeasure of aid, and it won't matter. But who knows?
True.
Ross, I guess we'll come back to you again for the Howler, bud.
All right, here the Howler is the new relentless monster, as they call it. It's a Conquer Reaver hull. It's going to come in at 6,500,000 armor points, 40,000 tons. It's going to be your tier 8 Conqueror hull. This baby's coming with an explosive damage boost of 140%, radioactive damage boost of 125%. Now, Penetrative deflection, straight out of the box, is 82,888. Corrosive, 66,284. Radioactive back up to the 82,888. Ballistic is going up to 90,638. Then concussive and explosive are back down to the 80,000 range. Comes stock with the turret defense of 45 and defense handicap of 100. Now let's talk about these defense numbers a little bit. These are high. Let's be honest. These are good numbers. So straight out of the box.
Oh, they're not near as high as what they get to when it goes into overload or whatever.
That's what I was meaning. I mean, but so I was going to lead up to this. So we're going to go to the combat speed at 20. Turn speeds, it is slow at 10 maps, but it's half the the combat speed. Map speed is 50. It has thermal imaging. Now 30-minute repair, which is decent. Now when this thing takes its special ability on this hull is a berserk. So or, damnation, what you're calling it, the Rage 2.0, and it's gonna berserk rage and not be able to be taking fire. I don't believe it will be able to fire when it goes into this berserk mode. However, it won't take damage.
Yeah, it will take very, very minimal damage. Like you'd have to break what is it, 3 million of each deflection? Is that what that number is?
Right. Now, so in the overload effect, it's going to really boost all your deflections up 3 million across the board, from ballistic all the way to radioactive. So I guess
the only thing that would be able to damage it at that point, I guess, would be like booms from the radioactive turrets, probably.
Oh, good thought. Good thought. Yeah, I'm not sure. And in all honesty, I haven't. There's probably a couple things in the game, but I think that's just an amazing deflection. So I don't think it's not stoppable, because it doesn't fire while it's under this berserk. I have not seen the hull in any shape or form myself perform, so I do not know totally what I'm talking about, other than just what I'm reading. So I'm excited about this hull. I'm interested in getting it for myself. So pretty neat. Oh, and the special abilities. I'm sorry, I missed that, because it's got a supercharged special ability ×6. And overload plasma core, duplicate aura cap, and I don't totally know what those mean, so
you'll have a little field right in front of its nose which does damage. So as you run up to something that at range 10, if you run it, it will do damage at range 10, just intrinsically, kind of like the same way our bat rays have that dumb ring that kills submarines. Same sort of thing.
But we have no number for that ring and how much damage it does, do we?
None.
No.
Or what?
At the moment, the number in the game they've said is bugged. The number in the game is minus like 14 million or something like that. So at the moment, there's a visual bug, but we don't have a good number.
Oh, so they knew it was bugged, but went ahead and released it anyway.
So it's like what we call it, plasma damage. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. I guess they are finally now coming out and saying, yes, plasma damage really is a thing. So we're actually going to make it part of the game now.
Okay.
All right. Some points about this. The berserk only lasts 5 seconds. Now, I admit 5 seconds in PvP is a long time, but that's not that long. And while you're berserking, you only get a combat speed of 50%. This thing and turn speed bump of 50%. This thing will never be fast and won't be turning very well.
I could actually see potential for a Reaver Scout engine on this guy.
Bold.
I agree.
And this thermal range of 20 is useless. You won't see a lurker until you run over it. The first sign will be depth charges flying up at you. That's too. I mean, the Breacher has a thermal range of 78 or something like that. So that thermal range, I don't know why it's there.
Yeah, I agree on the thermal range. I just don't need it, but I guess it's. I don't know.
And there is a supercharged bonus of ×6 baked into the hull for those who want to go with the launcher variant. Spoiler.
Yeah, and then I don't think it's gonna. I hope I'm right. It's not a point and click thing where everybody's gonna beat every base on the map, because it's just and it's just the berserk's, like you said, not long enough to do that type of hitting. I think
Well, I think it actually, in my opinion, anyway, it still has potential to be a click the back of the base. So it depends on how fast you can get it to go.
Oh, this is definitely going to be fun. Like, this is definitely better than the Basilisk.
Where it's really going to be a point and click to the back of the base one is the way a lot of people have their base set up right now. There's just that long, skinny channel that goes up, like straight up, and then you only have like one little turn to do at the end. Oh, it's definitely going to be a point to the back of the base in those kind of bases.
Right. And, but I was going to lead to it. I really think that this, with a skilled hitter, is going to really be something. I think it's going to be fun to watch, even skilled hitters use this whole. It's going to kind of be a tank, decoy, and then because you're going to want to bring your other fleet up in there with you.
Yeah, if you want to try to, yeah, I was gonna say it'd be a great decoy for your breachers, or maybe even your basilisk, because might potentially be able to drive your basilisk inside of the bases instead of just like driving around the outside like everybody seems to like to do with them right now.
That's well, to be honest, that's what the only thing they're good for. But yeah, I like this hull a ton better than the last release. So I have in high hopes of this hull. I like it.
I'm looking forward to driving this thing around. Absolutely.
Now, something that we didn't discuss, and Ross, I don't think you included this in the slides, was prices for these. So I don't think you included the price of the prize list in the slides at all, did you?
I did not at all, because no. I just didn't.
Hang on a second. Let me get into the game here, and I'll actually just pull up the live prize list.
The Howler is 3 million points. You can claim it 3 times.
Yeah, which actually technically makes it like 10 million more points than what the last PvP hull was, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. Good Lord, the amount of moving around I have to do for this is like incredible. And then I got to share a different screen now. I probably just gave people like crazy tunnel vision with that whole screen within a screen within a screen thing that just happened. All right, I think we got it going on now. Hit allow. And then we go to the raised prize list. Yeah, so the Saturn and the Nemesis X are 6 million, which basically would have been 60 million under the old system. They're at the weapons are 2.5, which would have been 25 million under the old system, and the specials are 1.5, which would have been 15 million under the old way. So that's all pretty standard, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
We going to get back to the weapons for the Howler?
Yeah, we will. I just wanted to go over the prices on this stuff real quick. Where is the Howler even? More prices. There we go. What's in there? Titanium, build tokens. Where the hell is the Howler at?
Conqueror line 2 middle block.
Oh, so why would you not put it up at the top since it's the new prize? Whatever. Yeah, so yeah, 3 million, which would have been 30 million, which is 10, like we said, 10 million more points or 1 million more points or whichever way you want to look at it, more than what the Basilisk was.
And you can redeem it 3 times,
Yeah.
of which I'm planning to redeem all 3 times, as if this releases anything like the Basilisk didn't get another PvP hull for 3 months. People were struggling trying to get extra Basilisks, so I plan to grab all 3. Breachers.
That's what I was getting ready to correct you, but
Thank you.
I'll probably do it in a minute. All right, but anyway, there's the Rockets first. Ross.
All right. So, this Conquer Defender. So, the Death Rattle Rockets. They're Reaver Tech, Tier 8. Explosive. It's pretty heavy, 1,250 tons. Projectile speeds 350. So, not incredibly high. Splash is 4. Spread is 150. Range 70. Damage is 156,000 with a salvo of 2. Reload time 3.4. So this baby's going to hit. It hits hard. You know, with the salvo of 2, 156,000 damage. That's a lot of damage. I mean, I don't know how to explain that anymore. It's a strong rocket.
Yeah, it definitely packs a punch.
Yeah.
And then we got the launcher too.
Now the launcher with it, it's the also Reaver Tier 8, radioactive damage type, same weight at 1,250 tons. Projectile speed on this is 450. Accuracy is 80. Range 70. Damage 52,000 with a salvo of 3. Reload time of 5.6. This has a shockwave damage of 6 million. So radioactive defense bypass at 100%. Stack duration is 60 seconds. I'm not sure on how many. I did read somewhere on what it takes to get a shock wave, but I don't recall it right off the top of my head. This is a strong launcher. Looks good.
It's 2,000.
Okay, so 2,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that number was pretty high from what I recalled.
It is high.
So I don't know. I'm not. I don't really know what I think about the launchers at this point.
Yeah, there's just questions work with the more questions than I have with the rockets. So that's when my personal preference, I'm going to go with the rockets, not because I know any magic or anything special. It's just because I can figure them out, in all honesty, easier in my head. And I can work with them better without the shockwave and all that computing, the specials that work better. I'm gonna go rockets, but I can't say I dislike this. I just don't know enough about it.
I'd say that's a fair assessment.
Could you lock the screen?
I did.
Thank you.
That's what happens when you have to switch between different screen presentations, and then you go back and you're like, oh, I knew there was something I forgot to do. But one of the interesting things, though, is like I don't think how our past of using a new hull to counteract a new hull, I don't think it's going to work this time because of the shroud or the invulnerable overload, because you always want your guard to be firing. So when this thing goes into overload, it's not going to be firing. So I don't think it's going to be very good for a guard. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a strange thing. I mean, I'm happy actually that it doesn't have both at the same time. I don't want to kill all in the game. I want something to be, manageable. So I'm happy like that. So I
don't know. 5 second invulnerability. You would if you can stop a fleet, maybe it could be good.
Mhm.
But like you're not doing anything during that 5 seconds though, because you don't fire.
True.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
All your friendly ships get this huge deflection, not just only right. So if you're running with your other ships that shoot, they'll fire, and they'll get the 3 million deflection, right?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I just actually noticed that. That's. Well, I wonder. Okay, and I don't see anything about a range. So is it map wide or is it just?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't see it. There's no range. That's what I've been trying to say. You run it with them, and oh my God, it's a wrap. And it's going to take some skilled driving. I don't think it's a point and click. That's what I was meaning, because it's the other ships that are coming in with this thing that are really going to wreck you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to say I almost think it doesn't affect other boats, but I don't know for sure. I almost want to say I think it only affects itself, because it would be silly if it affected everything.
It says friendly.
Well, yeah, but you're friendly to yourself. Well, at least most people are.
I know a couple that aren't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't tested anything, so that's what I was reading into it, and that's what I was thinking, and I was hoping.
Yeah, I honestly don't know on that one. I'll have to go into Discord and look on tomorrow on that. I'll ask Saltwater some questions. So CM notes are all the store sections are unlocked. However, you can only choose one of the Saturn Nemesis X ladders. So that's nice that all the store sections are unlocked. Thank you for that, Kix. You did a good job there.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we know, Greg, that it's an Aura Kappa 1, but that doesn't tell you what the Aura, what it affects or whatever. You know, it doesn't tell you how big the range is and if it only affects itself or others. It just tells you that you can't have multiples of the auras stacked and trimmed off of them. So there weren't as many numbers, blah, blah, blah. Captains, with the upcoming assault cycle, you'll find new exciting gameplay that rewards all the strategic and tactical skills you've developed over the years. Read on to learn how the upcoming assault seasons will be one of the most fun seasons in years. Arm yourselves with knowledge, captains. It's half the battle. So this is going into Wrong Thinkers talk about the upcoming assault cycle. So he's telling us about the things that are in there. Like, I don't know, his strength thing was just silly to me. Like, the strength of the dagger tooth is it's cheap to produce. I mean, that doesn't tell me anything, dude. But you know,
does that mean they will be warping in?
I don't know. He never bothered to explain anything other than they're cheap to produce. And maybe if you're all into the storyline thing, that's cool. But that as a player who's looking for mechanical explanations, that tells me jack shit. You know.
So the dagger tooth is made in China.
Yeah, I guess. But it has low health and low damage. The stonefish, most of these we've seen before. So all of these we've seen before, actually. You know, the stonefish is the one that's harder to kill, but has anti-missile countermeasures. Or, well, that's the weakness is, you know, anti-missile countermeasures against it. The Ghost Crawler, high durable, high firepower weaknesses, anti-missile CMs. The viper fishes can see into fog banks, and it's fast and it's evasive, and it has low health and low damage.
So 2 ships with corrosive scatter guns and 2 ships with missiles. Is that how you read it?
Yeah, because 2 of them have the anti-missile countermeasure, right?
That's their weakness, yeah. So I would definitely, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because their subs, obviously, they have torpedoes, too. So that's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But then he talks about the buildings. You got the Scourge scatter turret, which is high damage in a short range. You got the Scourge missile turret, which is well rounded long range, anti-missile, and their weaknesses are the short range for the first one. Then anti-missiles work against the second one. Then you got the support building. Which is a penetrated field substation. Grants Ghost Crawlers an extremely high penetrated defense. And the environment, you have fog banks, which are used to provide covers from most enemy hulls and structures. Here, Ross, you can do this slide.
Okay. This picture, we got the dagger tooth on this one. And then its damage type is corrosive / penetrative. So the dagger tooth is a puny and outdated hull produced primarily because their manufacturing cost is cheap. This sub can fire while submerged, but will surface when approached. Okay, so they explained the old cost is cheap thing.
I wonder what the range is when they surface.
Don't know, but it doesn't look like it'll be too terrible. Will surface when approached. So, okay.
Then we got the stonefish one. There you go, Cuddle.
Sure.
Cuddlefish should talk about the stonefish.
Primary damage is penetrative, so this looks like a pure missile hull. It isn't a massive threat, but definitely more durable than Daggertooth. Damage adds up over time, so don't ignore them if they get in range. Once again, it fires while submerged, but if you get close enough, apparently it pops to the surface. So there's a dot in it, or it has a wind-up mechanic?
Right. I don't know.
But, yeah, these from the Scourge raid, they were slow and ponderous, and they were hard to kill, even back then.
So we're okay. So let me see if I get this right. We're fighting subs that don't fire torpedoes.
Right.
That is correct.
What the fuck, dude?
Right on.
All right.
I'll go. Are you
want to do the Ghost Crawler, Ross?
Sure. It's a primary damage type is corrosive penetrative also. The Ghost Crawler is a moderately high corrosive defense and moderately amount of firepower. Further, to make up for its lack of penetrative defense, it's often provided insanely high penetrative defense by nearby penetrative fields substations. Fortunately, all of this durability and firepower come at a price of speed. The high durable Saturn can go toe-to-toe with the Ghost Crawler pretty well, but the Nemesis X will not be so lucky. If you're piloting the Nemesis X, it's recommended you focus on taking out the penetrative field substations in the target before engaging the Ghost Crawler, which will make it highly susceptible for the Nemesis X high penetrative damage. So that's very important.
For us NemX drivers. Oh, yeah.
Correct. I'm glad we read that.
For all 7 of you.
Yeah. No, in all honesty, so that's going to be really an order of attack. It's just going to need to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be moving around nice and slow, so you should be able to just sort of like run rings around it and get away from it. So
Right.
Just more driving.
Assuming that the Nemesis X handles well, we don't know. You know, because yes, it's supposed to be a kiting hull, but for all we know, it could drive around like a tank. You know.
Oh, I hope not.
I was like, why did you have to say that?
Hey, you're the one who's, highly durable Saturn. I mean, that's kicks ad speak. I mean, let's see if it really can go face-to-face with the Ghost Crawler the first time. Should be fun.
And then we got the Viperfish, Cuddle.
Viperfish. This one has a unique mechanic. It has radar, so it can see They can see your hulls even in fog banks, and they will follow you anywhere. Once again, it fires while submerged, but once again, it surfaces when approached. This is a neat. This really points to the fog banks, which sound really interesting. Like, I don't know, piling 4 of my Nemesis X's into a fog bank, then driving a 5th one out to, I don't know, go harass something, and then drive back and have it drive right by the cloud field, so they all fire, and no one can fire at my fogs, at my ships, because they're in the fog. I don't know. I think it will be interesting.
So I want to know though, like they say they will surface when submerged. Well, like at what range do they submerge or surface? Like that's what I'd like to know, because that's kind of important. That's kind of important information to know.
Right. And I mean, are you firing, or are they firing? How much farther are they firing before you surface them? You know, that is important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do I have to? Yeah, do I have to like? Do they surface as soon as they're at my max range, or do I have to actually get inside of my max range? Like, this is all stuff as somebody who plans on autoing as much as possible. That's very important information that I need to make a informed choice, and it's information they just don't want to give out apparently.
And that is less important for the Nemesis X drivers because we'll be using missiles with retargeting. So even if they're submerged, we'll still be smacking them around.
Yep.
Unless their defenses change if they are surfaced or above, you know, whatever.
And then they got the scatter turret. That's the enemy building with low difficulty. It's a turret to scatter gun. Wow, that was really hard to explain, wasn't it?
It's the penalty turret. You have driven badly. Take the penalty.
Yeah, or like I'd love to know the range on it. Like, what's its range in relation to the range on my scatter guns that I'm going to be putting on my hull? Am I going to be getting shot at this thing, or am I going to be having the same range, or is it going to be having? Am I going to be having a little bit more range? And if I face plan into it, it's the only time I'll get shot. I don't know. This is the information that you should be telling us if you want to do a proper write-up that's not just, you know, some words that tell us sweet fuck all nothing. The missile turret. Yeah, what's to say? It's a missile turret that shoots missiles at a long range. Be wary of getting caught in the crossfire of multiple missiles, or they will chip away at you. That was rocket science to figure that out, right?
Same thing, same situation.
Have your countermeasures on point, as they're talking about being caught in the crossfire of multiple missile turrets. That to me tells me to be using missile defense systems and or phalanx 4s.
You would think.
So,
of course, there's been missiles before that. That's not what you would actually use. You would be better off using other things. But yeah, I'm going to assume since they haven't said anything different, these are just regular missiles. And then they have the penetrative field substation that we talked about earlier that busts the ghost crawler. You know, you're just going to make sure if you're running Nemesis X's, you're going to want to make sure you kill these before you take on the ghost crawler.
Wicked looking little structure.
But hey, just be careful because destroying these may attract unwanted attention.
That's right.
See, that loops me back to that those ships that were easy to produce. That sounds like when this thing gets destroyed, those ships will warp in.
Yeah, could.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, that's what it sounds like.
So assault targets now include fog banks. Anything outside the fog bank cannot target anything inside the fog bank, even when what is inside the fog bank is shooting at them. If you retreat into a fog bank, enemies chasing you are likely to not want to incur the damage being shot by you without being able to return fire and will likely retreat. Leverage fog banks to avoid being detected, lay traps, or escape pursuing enemies. Allied hulls, they're revamping their approach to the way we design hulls in Battle Pirates. The Saturn is our strategic hull, which leans more on customization skills to minimize repairs. The Nemesis X is our tactics hull, which leans more on expert piloting to minimize repairs. Of course, you will always be able to customize and pilot both hulls, but they each have a different area of focus depending on where you want to focus your battle pirate's time. Note the hull upgrade for the Saturn Nemesis X are going to be released in April's raid, but are outlined here to help you decide which hull you want to acquire during the hull store. And boy, I got some words on these. So the Saturn is a bruiser. It's much slower than the Nemesis X, but also much tougher. That's obviously that's where you're going to want to be using your scatter guns. It's extremely auto-friendly, according to Kixeye. Being able to take the Ghost Crawler in a head-to-head battle. At AI upgrade level 2, it gains access to a CIC slot and both the Dion CIC and the Tethys CICs. These CICs are free to all players who unlock the upgrade at level 2 and free to refit onto your hulls. If you want to maximize your success with the Saturn, you must carefully consider which CIC you want to equip your Saturns for each encounter. Level 1 upgrade has bonus combat speed aura for all the Saturns. Number 2 is where you unlock your CIC slot, and then you have to choose which CIC you want to put. And then number 3, you get small bonuses to corrosive and damage and defense. So let's talk about the upgrades, especially the level 2 ones.
At least it's friendly.
Well, okay, here, dude, I got so many issues with this. Number 1, wasn't one of the very first things they said as a team when they came onto this game was they absolutely hated the mana cores in the CIC system?
It was brought up.
I was pretty sure that was one of the very first things they said as a team that they hated was the mana cores with the CICs. And now what are they doing? They're bringing out CICs. But more importantly, like, I don't know. This is like I can already see us going down that path where upgrades are not optional. Because getting an entire CIC that's probably going to change the entire way that the boat is played. How can you tell me it's an optional thing at that point?
They did say that the power of these CICs would be greatly a lot less than what were on the Manticores or the other ships. So this is going to be small bumps. No,
if it is small bumps, it just looks like it might not be small bumps to me. There might be a big advantage to having that. And then and if there's targets that you can't get through from not having it, it's going to be disappointing.
Well, and I like where they say, pardon me, I like where they say about how you're carefully going to need to choose which CIC you want if you want to maximize how well you do. Well, okay, so if there's a good CIC and a shitty CIC, which is what I'm gathering from reading there, why are you putting the shitty CIC out? Why don't you just make it, when I upgrade it, here, you get the good CIC, and it's already on there. Like, why? Because, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand this new team at all. Any of the decisions they've made, I have not understood whatsoever. None of them make sense to me. Do you want to take this one, Cuddle? You seem to be all about the upgrades.
Oh yeah, I am for the most part. But yes, I'll take this, the Nemesis X.
Well, no, I'm still talking about like what of this makes sense. Why does this make sense?
I don't particularly like the Saturns. Well, I don't particularly like the Saturn ones. I mean, at least they're giving you the CICs for free and the refits to put them on for free. If it introduces some where
did you say? Where did it say we're going to get the free refits to put them on at?
Line 6, these CICs are free to all players who unlock Upgrade 2 and free to refit on your hulls.
It does say.
So, okay. I mean, at least that's friendly. At least that's friendly.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't do that for the armor we've had to put on, and boy, I would have liked that.
Yeah.
Um,
But why not just release the hull with this shit in the first place? Especially if you already know what it's going to be.
No, that's the truth. If you do know what it's going to be, just add it on the original hull. So because we're in such a short cycle period that it drags it out, and unless it's given it all right up front, in my opinion. But
I mean, I'll say, if you want to supply me enough tokens to where I can do all this and only have each upgrade take me like, a couple hours, like when you gave me the free tokens for my eradicators, and it would cost me like an hour to upgrade to level 1, like 3 hours to upgrade to level 2 or whatever, whatever those times ended up being because you gave me the free tokens. Well, yeah, whatever, I don't really care so much at that point. But if you're not going to give me that same kind of access to all these free tokens to do it, then just put it on the original hull, man. Nobody wants to be eating up their shipyard time. And the people out there who are really busting their balls and coining and going the whole 9 yards on this, I personally think are doing a big disservice to the rest of the community.
Another thing that's possible in the Saturn is because the Saturn does not have any built-in countermeasure bumps. It means you are going to have to use a dedicated countermeasure special on at least some of your hulls to get any sort of decent countermeasures, which you're going to need.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be like another one, just like the the Manicore, where you're going to use like a distraction tank, and then the rest of your boat's a little bit behind it to kill everything.
Right. So your distraction tank would be the Dion CIC with the evasion and the penetrative defense, and then, or vice versa, and then have a whole bunch of Tethys ones come up behind. Yeah. I don't know. That seems to point to the fact that all of your ships will be differentiated by the time it gets to that point.
Yeah, and again, they're really pushing that increased damage to buildings and stuff, and it seems like they're making the buildings much more important than what they're supposed to be in an assault raid.
As a Nemesis X player, I do wonder how many hit points that penetrative silver pyramid has. So,
all right, the Nemesis X one is up if you want to talk about it.
There we go. Fast-moving hull that can kite enemies more easily than the Saturn using its penetrative-based missiles. However, it trades out its durability for this benefit. Because of its lower defenses, if you want to maximize your success with the Nemesis X, you'll have to think on your feet and strike when the opportunity is right. At upgrade level 2, the Nemesis gains its signature Nemesis Mine Layer built-in weapon, allowing the Nemesis X to lay devastating traps for approaching enemy hulls. Upgrade level 1, bonus speed, same as the Saturn, and upgrade 3, bonus penetrative damage, which is actually pretty nice at level 3. Now, the Mine Layer. We've seen mine layers before, the Artemis, and that was terrible. So if this mine layer acts like the Artemis mine layer, that is a pure dud.
I don't know, dude. I remember seeing actually people have tons of success with the Artemis using it in base defense, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know.
That's base defense.
They had tons of success using it in that capacity.
Beast. It was a beast for a short period. I mean, but it had its period, yeah, I thought it had a pretty good little run.
Well, I never actually used it for PvE, so I have no idea what it did there.
Yeah, I don't either.
In PvE, when you came into the map and you engaged the map, the first thing the Artemis would do is begin dropping its 4 mines. So those mines start off at your entrance point, and they don't go away until somebody damages those 4 mines. Now, they do slowly drift over, but by then you've killed half. By the time they get up to the target, because you warp in so far away, they never work well.
Okay,
So
I remember seeing them when when they were used in base defense. Those mines seem to move along at a pretty good clip in there.
Right. Well, because they're directed even. They don't have they have a set path. More maybe helps them speed them up.
So I'm worried about that one. I'm hoping it's a different mechanic than the Artemis. Otherwise, that's a complete dud of a level for my Nemesis X, which will be upsetting.
But like my problem with both of these upgrades, though, dude, is like at the level 2, like you're turning them into completely different chips, both of them. You know, it was okay when you were giving me like, you know, a little bonus here, a little bonus there. Then I actually felt like, okay, you're not lying to me. It's actually not important. But when you're changing the entire functionality of the ship based on these 2 level 2 upgrades, how can at that point in time can you continue to look at me with a straight face and tell me it's not essential? Can either one of you explain that?
No, but if this extends my enjoyment of the ship, i.e., 2 months down the line, I get the mine layer and I can start having fun with the Nemesis X again, well, great. So
why not just get it off the bat and have fun with it right away? I mean, especially if they already know this is what it's going to be, the upgrades are going to be. I don't know. I'm beating a dead horse. Upgrades are here, I think, whether I like them or not. So just going one step easier to making it easier for me to walk out the door.
well, they're not in the raid, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, because the upgrades aren't even available to do yet, so you wouldn't need to get them in the raid. But I mean, I think that was the last slide that Ross had.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't know. Let me ask in chat. Have any of you guys started doing the raid in chat? Is it pretty comparable to what last month was? Or has either one of you two guys hit any targets while we were doing the show?
Yeah, it's not I'm not in a world yet where it's started for me.
Gotcha.
I have not, no. You notice there's no leaderboards on the raid prize list this time.
Well, yes, thanks, baby Jesus.
I am surprised by that, and actually,
but it's like why? And I said this on Discord, and I don't know if they picked it up. But I'm like, why would you continue to have leaderboard prizes if you fuck up the payout every single time that you have them?
I'm just truly afraid the whales are going to be done with the raid in 20 minutes and then come coin the howlers and start roaming over and mucking up everyone else's raid.
Well, that's every single raid that happens, dude. There's nothing new.
But
actually, I want that to happen myself.
It's how long it takes to get to that point. And this is a hull raid, so they do need to give us something to do for a couple of days.
Even if they had leaderboard prizes, the PvPers would still be doing that. There's probably more PvPers who aren't worried about the leaderboards than there are PvPers who are worried about the leaderboards, quite honestly.
And I think that if it's not happening, then the hull wasn't the hull released was not designed properly. I mean, don't you want it to everybody to get out there and just love it and use it as fast as possible and have it be good? That's what I want. Smash me with it.
So, well, Bounty is the weekend after the raid. I will not have enough time to build one of these before the Bounty.
I do believe that that I saw that there is going to be a March event this month as well. Was that correct? Did I see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes this raid, Bounty, VXP, event, and then a raid again. That's the next 4 weekends.
Put that pressure on. Put that pressure on.
Hey, we had a weekend off. And the boards were filled with people saying,
Are you,
I don't have anything to do.
are you talking about this past weekend where we had the incredibly hard siege spin and when we had the not incredibly easy to upgrade TLCs? Is that the off weekend that you're talking about that we had?
Maybe.
So would you like to reassess your stance on that being an off weekend?
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
So I don't know. You guys got anything else, or are you both? I know I'm kind of ready to at least go try the raid for a little bit, get some points, get some shit.
I do want to get to the raid and find out how everybody in my alliance is doing.
Indeed, I have some time still to wait, but I think we've covered about everything.
Yeah. So, is there anything in chat that you guys wanted us to cover before we log it off? And give them a couple minutes to catch up and see if they got anything. I'll be honest, like I spent most of the past 2 days playing Magic the Gathering arena game that just came out. They came out with another one not too long ago, or I just refound it again not too long ago. One of the two. I've been playing that for the past 2 days.
I dumped a ton of mods onto my Fallout 4, and I'm currently wandering the wastelands like the Angel of Death. So I'm having fun.
Oh, speaking of which, did you guys see the thing that got posted on the page about that video that used all that Battle Pirates footage, but it's for a totally different game?
Yeah. And I even had to check the game out because
I've been playing that game. Dude,
yeah.
I played it nonstop, and I was able to continue playing it nonstop for like a day and a half until I just got to the point where I progressed so far I couldn't progress anymore because my boats weren't good enough, you know?
Yeah. No, I checked it out. I did.
But like there was no downtime in that game. It was you can. That's based around their currency is diamonds, and there's ways within the game that you can actually earn diamonds. I'm at well over 3,000 diamonds at this point. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I was just trying to kill up some chat time to see if the chat had any questions they wanted us to ask. So
I just think it was pretty amazing how they just blatantly snagged the video off the Battle Pirates, you know? And that must be okay to do.
Well, you know what's funny is somebody posted about that on the forums, and then their post about it got taken down because they were trying to point out the kicks that people were using their game footage, and one of the mods took the post down because they're like, you can't be promoting other people's games. It's like, you moron, he's not trying to promote their game. He's trying to tell you that this other company is like stealing your footage.
Right.
And they just stole the footage because the game is nothing like the footage.
Oh, no, it's totally not. But that's not the only game company I've seen do that. I've seen a lot of game companies on Facebook do that.
Me too. I really have. And some of that that footage they use to draw you in is really nice looking. And a couple other games I checked out the same way, and then I got in there and they weren't quite as exciting.
Yeah, isn't it usually the lower of on the sets? It's usually the lower number that's tuned towards the Eradicators, and the higher one is towards the Strikes. Is that the way that works?
Yeah, that seems to be the way. Yeah. See, I just typed that exact thing out.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. In that very first raid, I did much better in the 102 with my Eradicator flag than what I did in the 100. I don't know if you remember or not, but I was actually able to, my very first go, I completed the 102 and still had a little bit of health, if I recall. But on the 100, I totally died. So that seemed kind of odd.
I did the same amount of damage. It's odd for me, the 100 and the 102. And I auto. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway, all right. Well, I think that pretty much nobody in chat seemed to have any more questions. And I know 2 of the 3 of us are ready to get on with our raid. So I think we're going to call it here. I need to get some food, too. I haven't eaten yet today, so I'm hungry. So I might
I got a big crock pot full of chicken tiki waiting.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore raider. Crock
All right.
pot, drinks.
Yeah, I got to actually go to the store and get soda before they close too, because you can't raid without soda. My God, that would be terrible.
I don't think it.
All right, we're calling it. Thanks, guys, for coming out and watching. You, decent amount of people that were watching us live today, so that's always awesome. Yeah, literally the raid had started right as we began the show, so sorry we don't have a whole lot of information on the targets themselves. I don't imagine they're probably a whole lot different than what they were last month, though. So probably roughly the same, maybe just a little bit harder. But as always, we will talk to you guys on Saturday. Don't forget Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to hit us up for our open mic for BP No Quarter. We'll have a whole lot more information about the targets at that point, and it'll be interesting to hear some of other people's inputs on hulls and which way they're going and what's making them make that decision. And if they were able to get sweet fuck all out of that right up on the assault raid cycle. So I don't know. I was expecting more of here is the recommended way to build your boats, like they kind of did for the siege thing, you know, a month after the raid was out. You know, that thing we said, well, why didn't you tell us this 3 weeks ago? Yeah, I was expecting to see something more like that. But okay, whatever. Later, guys. As always, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. And if you haven't sent your friends to the page already, shame on you. Do it now. Later.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.